The thread title said, AMA before I fix my workplace problem for good. I didn't think, I just clicked. End of a crap day, legs numb from sitting, cheap beers sweating on the desk, be open like always when my brain's too fried to do anything but scroll and rot. I figured it was another wage cuck meltdown I'd skim. Maybe shit post once, then forget. Opie's first post was a blurry pic of a staff badge on his thigh. Crooked shot, harsh flash, no logo, just a first name starting with a D and half a barcode. You could see lint on his pants, a tiny burn mark by his knee. Real enough to be real, simple enough to fake. Replies hit instantly. KYS, do it LARP, same dead empathy you breathe on that board. One guy dropped call a hotline bro and got roasted as a bootlicker within seconds. It was all noise and I was fine with noise. Then Opie posted a break room. That's when something in my chest flipped. Beige walls, microwave, shitty chairs, and in the corner that blue vending machine with the healthy choices, sticker half peeled, and that dent near the bottom. I knew that dent. I'd stood there at 2 a.m. visiting a friend in the ICU, kicking that exact spot when it ate my last dollar. That machine sat in St. Luke's, 10 minutes from my apartment. I stared so hard my eyes hurt, trying to tell myself I was wrong, that all vending machines looked the same, but my fingers were already moving. I typed, "You work at St. Luke's?" and hit post before I could overthink it. A second later, he replied, "Funny coincidence," and attached another image. His hand on a gun case. Hard black plastic, laid on a crappy striped bedspread. Serial number taped over. His thumb looked chewed raw, nail short and ugly. Faint scar near his wrist. The angle felt rushed, like he snapped it one-handed. My stomach dropped. The thread went fucking insane. People beg for a stream, for pics, for a manifesto. Make it count. You won't do shit. A couple told him to get help and got drowned in clown gifs and moral fag spam. I jumped in, telling him to stop, telling the others they were out of their minds. Called them psychos, told him he'd just wreck his own life and a bunch of others. Instantly I got labeled a fed, a snitch, a pussy. If you care so much, call the cops, bitch, someone wrote. And that's where I froze. I pictured actually doing that. Calling some anonymous number and saying, hi, a guy on 4chan posted a staff badge and a gun case, and I think he works near me. I could already hear the bored silence on the other end, feel them putting me on hold, writing a note that goes nowhere. I sat there, heart racing, cursor blinking, while the thread refreshed like a slot machine. Then Opie posted what he called last proof. The image loaded slow, top to bottom. Granny hallway, overhead angle, white floors reflecting harsh light, gray doors down each side, red exit sign at the far end. Generic hospital corridor, sure, but I recognized the exact sagging ceiling tile near the right, the crooked fire extinguisher box, the little scuff on the baseboard under the second door. I'd walked that hallway. I knew that hallway. And then I saw the timestamp in the corner, and everything inside me went quiet. It didn't match my clock. It was ahead, by about 5 minutes. Not old CCTV footage, not a random Google image. Whatever feed he was grabbing that from existed slightly in my future. Caption, last walk. I stared at that timestamp until the numbers blurred. 5 minutes. That's nothing and forever at the same time. My brain split down the middle. One side said, he's trolling with some edited overlay, relax. The other side whispered, if you're wrong, people are about to die in a place you know. I opened a new tab and Googled St. Luke's security emergency number, then closed it before results finished loading. I'd have to say where I got it. I'd have to sound insane. Some guy on an image board posted a hallway. I told myself there were cameras there already, real ones with actual guards watching. I told myself even if Opie was serious, he'd back out. Guns jam, plans fall apart, people get cold feet. That's what happens in real life, right? I kept posting anyway. This isn't fucking funny, I wrote. You're not a movie villain, just stop. My posts looked tiny in the sea of all caps dares and memes. Someone quoted me with "shut up, therapist Sean," and a clown with a gun. Nobody else seemed to care that I'd basically just doxed the city. They thought I was role-playing too. I watched the little numbers in the corner of the screenshot in my memory, counting down, even though I wasn't looking at them anymore. 5 minutes. 4. 3. I could still back out of the whole thing. Hit the X, pretend I never clicked the thread. So I did. I closed it. Just like that. My heart pounded, but the window was gone, and I let myself slide back into the usual digital sludge. Opened YouTube, spam-clicked some loud garbage about video game drama. Turned the volume up. Every few seconds my brain flashed that hallway image again, but I forced it down with noise and beer. I told myself, if anything's real, it'll hit the news. If it doesn't, you just got baited like everyone else. You're not a cop. You're not responsible. At some point, I passed out on the chair. Neck hurt, mouth dry, headphones half off. I woke to sirens cutting through the walls. Real ones. Multiple, overlapping, Doppler shift and all. I checked my phone with this weird certainty. I already knew what I'd see. Breaking news banner. Incident at St. Luke's Hospital, multiple injuries, suspected lone attacker. That exact sentence. My hand shook so hard I almost dropped the phone. The article was light on details. Responding officers secured scene, unknown motive. A grainy helicopter shot of the roof, red and blue lights, swarming like insects. No hallway, no vending machine, just my city turned into B-roll. My legs moved without asking me. I went to the window and stared in the direction of the hospital, blocked by buildings, just the glow of distant lights. The sirens kept rising and falling. I went back to my desk and opened B. The original thread was gone. Not page 10. Gone. No archive link. Nothing in the catalog. Like it never existed. Some other Anon had already made a new thread. Remember OP with a saved screenshot. I clicked it. There was the badge on the thigh. The break room. The vending machine. The gun case. The hallway shot. And there, in sick little lines of green, my own words, "Stop, dude. Call someone. This isn't fucking funny." Right underneath, a reply. "LARP, calm down." Another Anon had slapped a clown with a gun under it. Same tired joke as before. Nobody mentioned my city. Nobody said, "Hey, check the news." They just argued about whether OP was real, whether he went through with it, whether it was Reddit tier cringe or top tier edge. I checked local updates. They confirmed multiple injuries and suspect in custody. Still no name, no photo, no history, just numbers. Statistics. They weren't going to mention the anonymous idiots who egged him on or the one coward who tried to stop him and backed off when it got too real. That's not how stories get told. Now, every time I close my eyes long enough, the hallway pops back up. Empty floor, exit sign, timestamp in the corner, ticking 5 minutes into my future. The moment where I still had a choice. I sit there replaying all the different ways it could have gone if I'd sucked it up and made the stupid call, or walked down there, or at least not close the tab and drown it in videos and memes. I keep thinking about the timestamp on that CCTV still. 5 minutes ahead of my clock. Enough time for me to do something if I believed him. I didn't hate the girl in the photo. I didn't even know her name. I picked her because she smiled at the camera like the world never kicked her teeth in. I wanted to see how fast I could crack that. Her picture came from some normie Instagram Explore tab. Bright cafe, latte art, stupid caption about self-care. I right-clicked, saved, posted her on B with, "This bitch laughed at my stutter. Help me fix her life." Total lie. I never heard her voice. I remember the exact moment I did it, because nothing special was happening. Just my shitty desk, the cheap RGB keyboard with crumbs jammed under the spacebar, the hum of my PC tower like it was breathing with me. My apartment smelled like old takeout and fabric softener from the hallway. TV on mute in the background, some talent show rerun where pretty people cry about dreams. I sat there, thumb hovering over the trackpad, and it felt like standing on a roof edge. No big reason, just because I could. Within minutes. Post socials. Up. Let's fucking go. You know that little jolt when notifications stack faster than you can read them? That hit me harder than any drug. I watched the thread jump from page 6 to front page. New replies every time I refreshed. The screen felt hot. I gave them what they wanted. Handle, city, the cafe's location. Nothing hard. She'd left the door wide open. Geotag here, tag brand there, a story where she pans around the street like she's doing everyone a favor by existing. Anons dug the rest in minutes. LinkedIn, Facebook, her mom's Pinterest, some old Tumblr where she posted poems about anxiety. The thread turned mean fast. I'd seen raids before, but always as a spectator. Swatted streamers, mass report brigades, all that. This time it felt different because I'd lit the fuse. Some Anon with a frog avatar started posting, find everything, like a commander, but it was my lie at the top. My bullshit story about her mocking my stutter, like I was some wounded underdog avenging himself. I knew it was fake, they knew it was probably fake, and nobody cared. That was the point. One Anon made a fake DM screenshot of her soliciting nudes from minors. It looked real enough that even I double-checked it was fake. They pasted her profile pic, matched the font, even added those little gray timestamps that make things look boring and official. My stomach twisted when I zoomed in and imagined someone's mom seeing it. Then I scrolled down and saw the replies. Holy shit, nailed it, print this, send to everyone. They started mailing it to her followers, her brand collabs, her boyfriend. Someone claimed to call the cafe and warn them they employed a predator. Another Anon posted a Google Maps screenshot with a route traced from their house to the cafe. At a road trip? Keck. It was probably bullshit, but in that thread, everything felt halfway real. The line between joke and crime blurred into this gray sludge nobody wanted to stare at for too long. I watched it escalate like a time-lapse fire. Her Instagram went private. For a few hours, the thread slowed, and people assumed she'd caved, that it was over. Then some genius dug up her Venmo, found her full name and a payment to rent her, found her old college, her sorority, archived photos where she wore matching shirts with other girls who were now guilty by association. New fuel. Then reopened with a long notes app apology about harmful misunderstandings and false allegations. Be torn apart, sentence by sentence. They screenshotted it and circled phrases in red like a teacher grading homework. Classic non-apology, lawyer wrote this. If she was innocent, she wouldn't apologize. One Anon rewrote it as, I'm sorry I got caught being a pedo, in red Comic Sans, and that got more upvotes than anything she'd actually written in her life. I kept reading every single post like I was fact-checking a story I'd invented 5 minutes earlier. They found her phone number in a leaked database. They spammed her with calls. An Anon posted a recording of her sobbing, saying, please, I didn't do anything. Why are you doing this? And the thread called it peak cringe. I listened to that clip with my headphones on, volume too high. Her voice cracked in this raw, ugly way that didn't sound like a person who thinks they're performing. No filters, no hey guys intro, just panic. Cars hissed by in the background. You could hear some coffee machine hissing, maybe the cafe, maybe her kitchen, I don't know. When she said, why are you doing this? My chest clenched like she was asking me directly. In the replies they wrote, because we can, for the lulz, because Opie said you laughed. I typed LMFAO holy shit with hands that shook slightly against the keys. I hit enter and stared at my own comment like it belonged to someone else. Even the ones who half believed she was innocent kept going. They said doesn't matter, funny as fuck. I agreed in text. IRL, my chest felt tight and my hands shook, but not from guilt from the rush. I was steering a mob with 3 throwaway posts and a stolen photo. Outside that window of light from my monitor, my life stayed pathetically normal. My boss emailed about missed deadlines. My mom texted a photo of her cat in a Santa hat, even though it was March. A neighbor slammed a door in the hallway. All that background noise of being a useless, invisible person. But in that thread, I was Opie. People quoted me. People waited for updates. My words changed the course of someone else's week, maybe their whole life. That power tasted so sharp It was almost metallic. A week later, someone linked a streamable clip. Granny phone video of her on what looked like an Instagram live, eyes swollen, voice wrecked. She said she'd lost her job. Her boyfriend was taking space. The cops had interviewed her. She begged whoever started it to stop. I watched it full screen in the dark, laptop burning my thighs. The live chat replay crawled up the side. Some real usernames, some burner accounts, all spitting hot garbage. Rat emojis, clown emojis, ratio, show receipts, or KYS. She pressed her palm to her chest like she was holding herself together and kept saying, I swear, I never talked to any minors. They made that screenshot. Someone made it up. She looked straight into the camera like she was looking at a friend. I knew she was actually staring dead center at me and a couple hundred bored strangers with nothing better to do. My phone buzzed with Discord pings from the same anons linking the stream. They typed, we broke her, speedrun, any % life ruined. This is better than Netflix. Someone looped a gif of her wiping her nose and captioned it cope harder. I leaned closer and noticed little things you only see when you pause a person. How her eyeliner had smudged halfway down her cheek. How chapped her lips looked without filters. How young she actually was when you stripped away the sponsored posts and glow. In chat, emojis flooded. Login face, hai con elle. Then the video cut off. The anon who posted it wrote, she ended live after that. Hope she did it keck. I stared at that sentence for a long time. The word hope snagged. I didn't hope she killed herself. I didn't hope anything. I just felt this weird, hollow silence in my head, like the noise stopped for a second and all I could hear was the refrigerator clicking on in the kitchen. I minimized the browser and my desktop wallpaper popped up, a default Windows mountain I never bothered changing. It looked fake as hell. The only real thing in the room was that empty feeling. I just sat there and realized I could do this to anyone for no reason at all. For a while afterward, I tried to forget the whole thing. I muted the thread, blocked a few of the more unhinged anons, told myself it was just internet shit. But the internet leaks into everything. A month later, I was scrolling some funniest raids compilation on YouTube, and there she was, flashed between a swatted Minecraft streamer and some dude who got his Uber Eats account hacked. Her Notes app apology, zoomed in and read aloud in a mocking voice. Her face blurred just enough to dodge TOS. People spammed skull emojis in the comments like it was just another meme. The worst part is how quickly my brain adapted. The moral line didn't snap, it just slid. Next time someone at work talked down to me, my first instinct wasn't to argue back. It was to imagine their profile photo on a fresh bee thread with some lie stapled to it. When some girl at a party rolled her eyes at me, I caught myself thinking I could end you if I wanted. I never did, but the thought was there like a safety switch I knew how to flick. Sometimes I checked her socials from a burner. She changed her last name on LinkedIn, locked everything else down. The old Tumblr disappeared. The cafe stopped tagging her. It was like watching someone slowly erase their own footprints while a crowd laughed at old screenshots. It's been 2 years. The thread's gone, pruned with the others, but the screenshots float around. Sometimes I see her face in a collage of epic 4chan raids, and know I did that for nothing. The worst part? Every time I feel small or humiliated in real life, my first instinct is to find another smiling face and feed it to the board. I don't feel sorry enough to stop. I just feel scared that someday, someone will pick mine. I proved long ago you can't really post just once. That lie died the night X turned my hand into a dossier. The thread said, post your hand, we'll tell you your death. Just another X gimmick, bored anons pretending to be psychic. I sat at my desk past midnight, half dead from work, ash in an old mug, scrolling and not sleeping. On impulse, I flattened my hand on the keyboard, snapped a pic. Pale hand, chewed nails, cheap black keyboard with a chipped spacebar. No rings, no face, no window, no obvious crap in the background. I checked EXIF, cropped it, posted. I figured worst case, they'd call me a lonely jerk-off with heart disease. For a minute, that's all it was. You'll die alone. Car crash. Stroke at 54. Same lazy shit. I smirked, lit another cigarette. Then one reply hit my post. Office drone, 3rd floor, east-facing window. Fires will matter to you. I read that line 3 times. 3rd floor, east-facing window. My desk sits on the 3rd floor. My window faces east. Every morning the sun hits me in the eyes from the right. I felt this stupid little pinch of fear and pushed it away. Lucky guess, I told myself. Most people sit near windows. Whatever. Then another Anon quoted my pic and re-uploaded it with red circles. They'd zoomed into a glossy keycap and cranked the contrast. Tiny warped rectangle of light. He's got a red brick building across the street, 5 windows wide. The time my stomach really dropped. Across from me, there's an old school building, red brick, 5 tall windows. I'd never mention it anywhere. I actually got up, walked to the window like an idiot, stared at the building, then back at the photo. It lined up too well. The thread changed after that. You could feel it. They stopped joking and started treating it like a project. They flipped the image, sharpened, inverted. Someone spotted the edge of a sticky note near the frame. Just the corner, a slant of handwriting. They argued over the alphabet until one Anon said my language and nailed it. Another dropped a map screenshot of my country like it was nothing. I kept quiet. If I denied it, that confirmed it. If I admitted it, they'd go harder. So I watched them pull my life apart while I sat there breathing too fast. They timed a light angle, called it morning sun, decided I faced roughly north. One claimed that keyboard models shipped mostly to call centers in my country. They weren't always right, but they narrowed everything scary fast. Then someone posted, "Let's catalog him." Next reply, case 47. Male, 25 to 35, lives alone, desk until 2 to 3 a.m., timestamp, low-income neighborhood, red brick school opposite window. Seeing that number next to me felt worse than any insult. I wasn't a person, I was a slot in a list. Another Anon made a paste with findings. They saved my image as 47.png. They argued about whether I drank, whether I'd snitch if they crossed a line, whether I sounded suicidal just from how my hand rested. It felt like being dissected on a table while everyone took notes. I finally closed the tab, forced myself, shut the whole PC down, and lay in bed staring at the ceiling, telling myself threads die. People forget, it's fine. Next day, I caved and checked the archive. Of course, they hadn't let it go. New thread, continuing the case files. First image was my hand again with a note. 47 checked the thread at least twice after posting. IP pattern. High curiosity, low self-control. I just froze. I hadn't posted a single word. They still tagged my behavior. I realized somebody on that board had access they shouldn't, or at least logs I couldn't touch. I yanked the router, nuked cookies, installed more privacy shit, but it all felt like locking the door after you've already sent them floor plan. I stopped posting there. I still lurk sometimes like a junkie, but every time some kid dropped a room pic or a shoe shot, my whole body tightened. I started noticing windows in everything. Reflections in spoons. Glare on phone screens. The tiny details people bleed without knowing. Weeks went by. I tried to convince myself they'd moved on. Then one evening, I checked my mailbox. Bills, junk, and a bare USB drive sitting right on the metal. No envelope, no label. Just there. The second I saw it, my mouth went dry. I knew. I still took it upstairs. I dug out my old laptop, killed the Wi-Fi, did all the fake air gap stuff that makes you feel smart, and plugged it in. One folder, 47. My hand shook when I opened it. My original hand pick. Their edited versions. Screenshots of the whole thread. And a text file, notes.txt. I clicked it. It read like a police file written by assholes. Age bracket, job type guesses, my city, probable building. They had my brand of cigarettes right based on stain color on my fingers. They'd drawn a radius on a map around my block using bus routes and the angle of the school in the reflection. They listed lives alone because there was only one chair and one mug. No pets, because there was no hair on the desk. Some things were off. They thought I'd dropped out of college, thought I had a sibling I don't. But their confidence only scared me more. Those mistakes sounded temporary, like blanks they planned to fill. At the bottom were two final lines: no bullets. We don't hate you. You were just available. I sat there with that sentence burning in my head. Not special, not targeted, just convenient. That was somehow worse. I thought about going to the cops, try to explain that a bunch of nobodies on a dying board had built a file on me from a single photo and probably walked past my building at least once. I pictured the look I'd get and stayed quiet. I encrypted the folder instead of deleting it, like keeping proof helps. It doesn't. Now, whenever I see someone post anything personal on 4chan, a shoe, a desk, a half-eaten meal, I feel sick. Not because of what could happen, because I know somewhere, some bored fuck might already be saving it as case 48.